purpose. Your misery is your ministry. Your pain is your purpose. Your suffering is your service. Your mess becomes your message. Your test becomes your testimony. God allows us to hurt to heal others because you cannot heal what you cannot feel. So don't let the pain of your past punish your present and paralyze your progress and purpose. My name is Michael, and the part that speaks to me is your mess becomes your message. In this trying period of COVID-19 pandemic, I've heard horrible stories about friends and families who have contracted the virus and fallen sick. I have seen on the news people queuing for food and some losing their jobs. These adversities greatly saddened my heart. This period of mess has become a nightmare for many families. One thing that is a mess that this mess brings to me is that it has shaped the way I look at the world. In that anything can happen at any time. So therefore, why don't we help each other? Why don't we love each other? Why don't we care for one another? This mess has brought about a message of love, and I urge everyone to help in any kind of small way, whether to volunteer, donate, or even pray for one another. My mess has become my message of love. What do you think, Bree?
Well, Michael, thank you for that. For me, what spoke to me this week is your test becomes your testimony. And as I mentioned before in a previous recording, that the decisions we make today leads to the outcomes of our tomorrows. And during this time of unknown, many are saying, I've never seen or been through something like this before. In fact, my own daughter said, Mom, I never thought I'd live or see something like this in my lifetime. And I want people to reflect, though, on all of the I've never been through this before moments in their lives, and reflect on how you've actually come through it, right? We've all had to navigate and been through something that we've never gone through before, and we came through resilient. So remain resilient in this test of COVID-19 period. Whether things have slowed down for you or whether things have rapidly become busy, let it become your testimony. So that's how I felt. Melvin, this week, what we got going on as far as
Thank you, Bree. First of all, Bree, you said lifetime. Is this week anything special in your life? Is anything going on in your life that's special?
Happy birthday. Well, yes, I will be celebrating my birthday tomorrow.
Guys, it's Bree's birthday. Let's give her a hand. Happy birthday, Bree.
Thank you.
Hello, Turnaround Tuesday, and welcome again to our weekly video. I just want to, first of all, thank the over 125 people that have filled out the survey that's on our website. Again, our website is turnaroundtuesday.org, and we encourage everyone to go onto the website and to fill out the survey. What this does, it lets us understand what people are going through during these unusual times. And it helps us to really, if we can be helpful, we can know what people need and we can do whatever we can to be helpful. So we encourage everyone to go onto the website again at turnaroundtuesday.org and fill out the survey so we can really capture what people are going through. I also want to give a shout out to our partners at Weller Development who donated tons of gallons of hand sanitizers that we will be able to distribute to Turnaround Tuesday people. So we want to thank Weller. We want to thank Mark Brody, who is our partner over at Weller Development, and we look forward to a continued relationships. One last update is that we are working on an opportunity that we think is going to be huge, particularly during these unusual times, positions of contract tracers. We're working with the city of Baltimore to determine what these jobs look like and who will fill these jobs. And we're hoping that Turnaround Tuesday will be a huge part of this. So we will give you additional information when we get it. And now it's my turn to turn it back to Bree, who will give our updates from operations.
Thanks, Melvin. So this week in operations on the job side, and as you mentioned, we have jobs and opportunities that are consistently coming to us. We actually got a call again for more security opportunities, and then they are hiring immediately. last week I mentioned we had 12 employed. During this COVID period, we have had 12 employed and had 8 pending. Well, of the 8 pending, we have 5 who've gotten employed this week, and a few others added to the pending list. So again, on the job side, we have jobs, we have opportunities. And if you know where you are in your process, we are still going through your process as far as individual meetings, as far as getting your assessments, and then your jobs questionnaire. So all of that is still happening. And with the awareness and the resource team, again, we're still diligently working weekly on finding and getting resources and how we can get them to you. And so yeah, so we are still busy. Next up, I believe we have our spiritual vitamin. Oh, yes, Cheryl.
I had a question. What happens if you're new? Because I know we've talked about it. If someone is listening today and they're brand new, how do they start?
Well, so definitely when someone's referred to us, and most times it's from a community partner, so we would ask them to definitely go to the website, turnaroundtuesday.org, and review our videos to see who and what we are and the type of work that we do. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yep, so that's the first step. And then it's a soft handover, and then it's referred to Michelle, and Michelle will do the first assessment.
Wonderful, thanks.
Yeah. So next we have our spiritual vitamin. Thomas?
Hello. My spiritual vitamin quote comes from, as it comes up on the screen, Eckhart Tolle. To know yourself as the being underneath the thinker, the stillness underneath the mental noise, the love and joy underneath the pain, is freedom, salvation, enlightenment. I chose this particular quote because it spoke to my spirit. It reminded me of a time when I found myself underneath of a whole bunch of negative thoughts, all the noise, the mental noise, and the pains of life. But I am glad that while weeping may endure for a night, joy comes in the morning. But when I think about being underneath the thinker, for much of my life, I was defined by the thoughts of others. The school teacher told me that I was stupid. The girls in the neighborhood told me that I was ugly. My fist told me that I was tough. The streets told me that I was a hustler. The judge called me and told me that I was an animal. And in the midst of all of that negativity, amidst all those negative thoughts, it became so loud that it began to pierce the stillness of my soul. And I started to actually believe that I was stupid, that I was ugly, and that I was an animal. And so I started acting stupid, acting ugly, and acting animalistic. And it ultimately caused me to go to prison. Now, these actions of mine not only hurt me, but it also hurt my loved ones. It also hurt those and created a lot of pain for those that I've hurt. And it got to the point where I no longer even loved myself. And because of that, I no longer wanted to live. I literally wanted to die. And in my mind, I started thinking about ways to do so, because the negativity, the noise, and all the pain had caused me to lose myself. And I no longer recognized myself when I even looked in the mirror. But then I realized that the problem wasn't those who were thinking these negative thoughts about me. The problem was the thoughts that I was thinking about myself. And so I decided to go on a scavenger hunt, if you will. I decided to do, like I said last week, recover and rediscover myself. And I found that my salvation was in the stillness of knowing who I am, despite what other people might think about me. And so today, I am free to be me. Today, I am free to love myself all over again. That's my spiritual vitamin.
Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas. I have a friend who has a powerful way of centering herself, and I think your quote is getting at the same idea. I would call it meditation. She describes it as picturing herself slowly sinking to the bottom of the ocean while there's a storm happening at the surface. I imagine there being total stillness and quiet in the sand. I found comfort in this scene more than a couple of times. It's soothing to acknowledge that a problem is real, but at the same time, choose to drift away from it, even if just for a few minutes. The problems in my life or in the world can feel attached to me and impossible to escape, but clarity and centeredness are never far off. The struggle, the noise, the pain don't define me, but my reaction to those things do. So that's where I start when I think of what is my story. Terrell, I hope today's training can help us learn how to draw lessons and tell stories from our experiences.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca. I hope so too. And Thomas, thank you so much for that. Wow, that reflection. So this is week 2 of storytelling. And as we said, storytelling is a skill, right? It's not something that you just grow up doing, telling great stories. And so today, what we like to do is just do a quick sort of review of what we say stories are. And then we want to leave you with a tool that has become very, very valuable for organizing with Bill. And now we're turning around Tuesday and helping us to really, really pinpoint our stories. So Michael, if you can bring the review up for us real quick. So what did we say about storytelling? We said storytelling is a way of connecting people to people, right? It's a way of us connecting emotionally. When Thomas was telling his story or his reaction to the quote, couldn't you see him unearth his feelings? Could you see the different things that he was taking us through as he was talking about how the world views him or how other people viewed him, and then how he viewed himself? So in that, we saw the personality of Thomas, right? So in storytelling, if you want to leave a good story of remembrance with people, you got to create sensory details. You got to have those, you got to share those smells and sounds and feelings that you had when you were going through those points, as Thomas gratefully did for us. You've got to have characters in your story. The characters really, really lets us know what kind of personality you have and how you engage with other people. Do you push people away? Do you bring people close? Or are you an authority figure where you think that people should listen to you? Or are you a great listener? What is the character of in your story? And then again, like we said, personality. What is the personality from Thomas? From Thomas' story. If I was an employer and he told a part of that story, not all of it, but he owned a part of that story would say to me that this is somebody that will hang in there when the department gets tough and rough. He's not going to run. He's going to stay in the job. And when there are many, many different demands on him, he is going to stay with it and he's going to come out of it on the other side. When he asks a question like, tell me about your greatest strength. Well, let me tell you, I've gone through tough things and I stick with it. And then last, which I almost forgot last week, all stories should have a piece of humor. We deal with very, very serious issues like this pandemic. It is serious, but I can tell you, there have been many, many wonderful moments in this pandemic that I could share with you, like my granddaughter coming over just past Saturday. And her running around the yard, and she studied, my yard is not very level. It's not the best yard in the world. And so I was so afraid of her falling, but I didn't want to stop her from running. And you could just see me running after her at every single step. You know, so a part of our lives always have some seriousness. But leaders, we have to always find the humor in every aspect of our life. And in that, we talked about a beginning, middle, and end to a story, where the beginning sets up the story, tells about the setting, the middle is the meat, and the end is what have I learned? What is this story taught me? So That's a lot of stuff in 5 minutes. What I like to do is show you this new tool that has been absolutely incredible for us in understanding how to tell our story. This is what we call our stick figure. Our stick figure really breaks it down into 4 key components of storytelling. It is key people who has made an impact on your life before or now. What are those key moments in your life that shaped you? For me, anyone who knows me, I tell the story of Simba Wachanga, which I joined when I was 8 years old until I was about 15, that really, really had a tremendous impact. And to know me, you gotta know that story of Simba Wachanga. And then what are your key drives and key interests? What are you curious about? What are those things that drive you, that makes you come alive? Like for me, it's people. People make me come alive. What is it that makes you come alive, right? And then what are those key institutions also that help shape us? Is it church? Is it the neighborhood association? Is it that group that you belong to? What are those things that really, really has shaped who you have become and who shaped how you think? So what I like to do real quick, if I can, I think JC has prepared her stick figure for us. And I would love to go through her stick figure with her. How you doing, JC?
Great. How are you?
I am wonderful. So, JC, I'd like to ask first, how long did it take you to do this stick figure?
Took me about a good 20, 30 minutes because I just had to really think of, like you say, you know, you have a lot of people, but who are those key people who help round you and make you who you are?
And when you were going through this process, was there any thinking that you were doing? Did you find yourself going back into different components of your life?
Yes, and then some of it's like through my childhood, my teenage years, my early adult years, and even now.
Wow, wow. And that's what this exercise does. It allows you to dig inside yourself. So you have key people, your mother and grandmother. And my grandmother is really, really special to me. I mean, my mother is too. I love her to death. But my grandmother really had a tremendous impact on my life. Can you tell us about your grandmother?
Yes, she is from North Carolina, so she had all those witty quotes and sayings that, you know, when you hear it as you're growing up through your teenage years of you being rebellious, you never understood what it was until you got older and you're like, oh, that's what grandma was talking about.
Give us one, give us one.
So I don't like to be told no. And she always used to say, never be afraid to hear no. You can only get a yes or no, and no builds character. Or never allow anyone to figure you out, because once they do, they can control you.
Wow.
So like a lot of that still stick with me today. So I'm like, I still don't like to hear no, but like she says, when somebody told me no, that means I got to figure out how to get it, how to do it. So wow. And now, like I say, as you get older, you understand some of the things that she used to tell you when you was like, all right, grandma, okay, whatever.
So she's still, although is grandma still with us today?
No, my grandmama passed in 2008.
Sorry to hear that. So although grandma is physically gone, she still occupies a space inside of your head, right?
Yes, yes.
Wow. So what about key moments? Birth of my child and first job. Take one of both.
I would do my first job. Because I always wanted to work. And being the baby of my mother and father, then it was like, you don't need no job. You don't need a job. But I wanted a car. So I was just like, okay, I had to ask my grandfather. He got me my first job working at, it was a place in McDormand Mall called McCoy's, where you could get food, pets, homes. I mean, everything. It was just like a one-stop store that you were just like, what? This is crazy. And I used to get paid every week. And after school, I would go and just try to stay all night, all the weekends, just to make a paycheck to do absolutely nothing with it. Like I was just so pressed to get a job and had nothing to do with my money because I was still too young to go anywhere. But I just wanted it. And it was just something that I was just like, I accomplished, and now I don't want to work anymore.
Well, so listen to that. There's a story for the employer, right? There's one of
Yeah.
those stories. You know, tell us a time when you went over and beyond. I didn't have to work. You know, I was fortunate
Yeah.
enough to be in a home where I did, but working was very important to me. I've always had this sense of work, and I didn't want people to do. I mean, what do you think an employer would think of somebody who has a story like that that talks about your first job that you didn't have to work, but you did it because
Go get
that's
her.
just a part of who you are. Yeah, good
Mm-hmm.
job. What about I want to save that one. Key institutions. Prison.
My key institution would be the prison, as I worked as a correctional officer for 6.5 years. I worked in the downtown part of the city in the all males institution. So it was, I have an attitude problem, very, very terrible attitude problem. But working there and you getting to meet all of these individuals and you hear so many bad stories of inmates this and inmates that, how they're so stereotyped because they're incarcerated, but you get to know them. And they helped change my attitude because when one of the inmates told me, hey, Miss C, you need to stop acting like that. We allow you to go home every day. And I had just had my daughter. I'm like, it really gave me a reality check to where they didn't do anything to me. So why am I giving them the anger that I have inside me that has nothing to do with them? So it was just like an instant self-reflection. And then from that day on, I'd always changed my way of how I react to people, talk to people, encounter people. And I just made it a pet with myself to just always leave somebody with something when I speak with them. Just even if it's just a simple hello, or have a good day, or you look nice. That can change someone's day.
Wow. Wow. What a story. Now, you see that story that JC just told? What does that say about her? Think about it. If she told that story to an employer, what does that say? That says that she's adaptable. She can change. She's not one of those people that say, this is just how I am. She's one of those people that reflects and says, I'm doing this wrong. And someone just gave me a gift to change, and I'm going to accept that gift and do it differently. I don't know what I would have said if somebody would have told me, we allow you to go home every day.
Yep.
That is powerful. Wow. So, what about key interest and drive? God and people.
Yes, because I always was raised in the church. Like I say, my grandmother is from the country, and our church started with just family members because we're super, super huge. So God plays a part, and He allows us to see it each and every day that we haven't seen before. So it's allowed for a day to change. And I know how, that needs to be impacted in my life, and I'm putting it in my daughter's life as well. And with people, it goes back to what I said with the prison. You never know what type of person you're meeting or encountering. They can be having a bad day. And just like I said, it's something as simple as hello could change their day. And then always, to me, treat people how you want to be treated. Now, sometimes some people don't give you the treatment that you deserve, but that doesn't mean that you have to still be mean back to them. Give them outlooks in other ways, because some people are dealing with anger and stress and don't know how to deal with it or manage or know that they are angry and or stressed. So like I said, I always just made it my business to whomever I encounter to help. And I've always been doing that ever since I've been a correctional officer. I can go to any place now and see some ex-inmates, and it's just like I go to some of them own bars, own barbershops, and they just give me things for free. And it's like, you don't have too many people that can actually be an ex-correctional officer that can walk the streets safely.
Wow. Wow. So think about that for a minute. Would you hire JC if she told one of those stories? I know I would, because those were not, I mean, those were stories that could be answers to, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me about your strengths. Because I can say my strength is my love of people, even when they may not treat me the way I think I should be treated. I understand that I have to be responsible for my own actions. And in her story, you can hear that, right? It could be, the interviewer might ask you, what is your greatest weakness? What could she use? In all of those stories, what can she say her greatest weakness is? It could be that I'm always trying to serve people. And sometimes I have to take a step back because she talked about her curiosity for people and her need and her love of people. So that weakness can be a strength. And that's how we think about our stories. So what I like for you to do is think about these 4 components, the way JC has helped us understand her better. How about you helping other people understand you better? Who are the key people who have been in your life? Who are those? What are those key moments? What is that thing inside of you that really stirs you up? It could be the thing that makes you very happy, or the thing that makes you angry and makes you want to do something. And then lastly, what are those key institutions that you belong to that has helped to shape you? And if you can't feel anything in those slots under key institutions, you've got to ask yourself why. Because institutions really shape us into who we are. And it's either an institution that we're a part of that doesn't go along with our personality and we leave it, or it's an institution that we're very curious about and it helps to develop and grow us. So I would love for you to take this week, Cheryl.
Carl, I had a question.
Yes.
I'm wondering, how do you know which story to take in an interview? And like, how long do you think the story should be? Because like when we tell stories, Turnaround Tuesdays, sometimes they can be 5 minutes long. Is that appropriate, you think?
Well, the latter question, I can answer the latter question explicitly, and that is, I don't think the story should be more than 2 minutes.
Okay.
If your story is more than 2 minutes, it's too long. Okay. Choosing the right story is very important because one, I don't think you want to tell too much. We always say that you can tell a personal story, but not a private story. The difference between a personal story and a private story, it may be something like, I have a kid that needs special education services. And that's really personal to me. And it really affects my life. But it also affects a whole lot of other people. So that personal story can help a whole lot of people who have the same problem that I do. A private story may be something like, I don't want to tell the particulars of my breakup because that is private. I don't want to go and tell, what I did last night or what I did at the club the other day. Those are private stories. Personal stories are stories that affect us, but they affect many, many more people in many cases in the very same way. Thanks, Cheryl. Any other?
I think that was one of John.
I have a question, Terrell.
Yes.
Listen, I've actually hosted a lot of interviews myself, and I've had people tell stories, and I find that sometimes when they add religious input in there in their stories, that it becomes a really kind of different story. Sometimes when people are telling their personal stories, I understand being able to tell the difference between that personal and private becomes a really, that gray area. How do you, that's what's kind of hard to kind of teach sometimes. What would you advise that I can tell folks in terms of making sure, I know you went through that with Cheryl, but it is a thin line between private and personal when people are talking about something that's happened in their lives.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great question, John. And my thing is, I would pick 1 or 2 stories from each of those, and I would try them out on people. I would call Michelle and say, hey, Michelle, what do you think if I tell this story? Cheryl, Melvin, what do you think if I tell this story? Go to people that believe in this idea of storytelling in interviews, because everybody don't, right? There are many workforce development programs that don't believe in that. The reason why we believe stories are strong things that can be done in interviews is because stories allows you to remember people. Because many interviewers are interviewing 5, 6, 7, 10, 12 people a day. How will you step out? I mean, how will you stand out? Usually it is your story. But to your point, John, it is difficult sometimes to know what is too personal and what's a story that a person can really understand who I am. Because it is horrible when you tell a story to someone and it has no validity at all. It doesn't say anything about the personality of a person. It doesn't say anything about whether I learned something. It's like, why did you tell that story? So it's always good to take that 2-minute story and try it out on a few people and see what they think.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Anyone else? Well, thank you all so much. JC, thank you so much for a great stick figure. And I think Michelle has some things for us.
Hi, Turnaround Tuesday. Thank you all for sharing your stories, and thank you, Terrell, for telling us the dimension of the stories. I think it's really important to understand how to tell what we need to tell. As we go into another week of staying indoors, and as the weather is getting nicer, people are becoming more lax with using social distancing and their PPEs. We have to remember that no matter how great it feels outside and how much we do have this internal need to socialize, we do have to remember social distancing is in place for a reason, and the PPEs are in place for a reason. Remember that wearing your mask can not only save your life, but the life of the people around you. Michael, can you please put up those tips for me? In this process right now, there's a lot of anxiety, not only about staying indoors, but maybe even just the idea of re-engaging back into the community. You know, there's a lot of talk about how we're phasing back into going back into the outside world. So to alleviate some of those stressors, the tips, thank you. To alleviate some of those stressors and some of those anxieties that we have, here's some tips for some mental wellness and stability. First, let's take a break from the news. I think every single day I hear how the numbers are going up and how many people have tested positive and how many people are passing away. And that raises our anxiety tenfold. So it's great to stay informed and to keep going and understanding what's happening around us, but let's not inundate ourselves with the news. Reach out for support. Reach out to agencies and different things if you're feeling that there's some support needed. Don't wait until all resources have diminished to then ask for resources. If you see that certain things are running low, essential items, food, anything is running low in your household, please reach out. There's many, many, many resources now for it to help with those things. Maintain your familiar routines. A lot of us have had to adjust to working from home, and that increased the need for a routine because it's not our norm. So try to maintain your same routine. If you were waking up early before, continue to do that. If you have things that you like to fill your day with that give you some calm and peace, do so as well. Find ways to connect with your loved ones. One of the things that excuse me, Terrell?
Or disconnect.
Absolutely, that too. One of the things that I definitely aim to do during this time is, in my normal busy day, I don't have time to check in with my loved ones all the time. But this has given me some opportunity to really check in, really spend those 5 to 6 minutes on the phone checking in with my family members, near and far. Do things that give you joy, whatever that is. If it's a nap in the middle of the day because you never had the opportunity to do that before, do that. If it's just walking outside, listening to some music, if it's dancing, whatever it is, do something that brings you joy. Cheryl, we know you love to dance. Focus on movement. Moving our bodies really helps to continue our endorphins to increase. And especially during this time when we're anxious, use that anxiety in moving around. Pace in your house if you have to, go outside, do some jumping jacks, try out the exercise techniques we have at the end of the video, whatever it is. Even when you're working, take a few minutes to get up and walk around. And lastly, let's not forget to breathe. Breathing is so important, whether you want to do that in a meditative way or you just want to stop and take a few deep breaths every day. It's really important that we keep our lungs working well to fight the virus as much as we can, and to keep our lungs working well to help increase our mood. So please try these tips. And if anything else you may need, there's a valuable website, which is the bhsbaltimore.org. And they have lots of different tips, including some of the ones I've already shared with you today. Take a minute to go on there and see what you can find. There's lots of different things. And also, we're always here for you. So if there's any questions, please feel free to connect with us. Thank you. Turnaround Tuesday. Now, after all this talk about breathing and being centered and figuring out where we are, I'm going to end today with a prayer. We don't promote any specific religion at Turnaround Tuesday, and we're very inclusive. We're all inclusive, whether you have religion or you don't. So today's prayer is going to be from the Buddhist tradition. So just take a moment, relax your body, your eyes, and your mind. May all be free from sorrow and the causes of sorrow. May all never be separated from the sacred happiness, which is sorrowless. And may all live in equanimity without too much attachment and too much aversion. And live believing in the quality of all that lives. Thank you, Turnaround Tuesday.
Thank you, Turnaround Tuesday.
Thank you.
No
Wow.
exercise.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. No, before exercise, Terrell, don't forget. What are you grateful for, Terrell?
Last week,
This weather.
Mine, I'm going to put mine in the gratitude jar. Everybody, don't forget to put your gratefulness in your jar, okay?
I'm grateful for my granddaughter.
Your granddaughter. Awesome, Terrell. So today, the exercise from that beautiful prayer from Michelle, I think we just all need to just stretch. What do you think? Turnaround Tuesday. Let's just relax and stretch. First, put your right hand here and put the left hand here and just squeeze it towards you. Just squeeze it towards you and relax. Relax. Okay, let's do the opposite. Put your right hand over the left and just press it towards you. Press it towards you and relax. Melvin, relax. It's like you're in pain, right? And then the last one, just relax your neck and drop your head down.
I need that.
And move it slowly around. Not too fast, just slowly. And relax. Slowly. Just let go of the tension. JC, I see you. You're not moving your neck. And then the opposite way. Opposite way. Okay. Thank you so much. Good job, everybody. We love you.